Appreciate you guys for pulling up. Definitely like, share, and subscribe, man. And we just here, where our slogan is pretty much "Stay woke or wake up," right? So today I'm gonna be speaking to you guys on, the rise and fall of Ricardo Tip Top Johnson. Um, and the purpose of me actually doing this video is more so to get a message across to you for those that feel like street life um is something that we should continue living or be a part of. And it just shows um or it's gonna give the pitfalls of being a part of certain activities and certain consequences that actually come behind that. um so again, I think what moved me to actually do this segment on Tip Top um, is because several weeks ago I noticed that he left a comment on my Instagram page, right? Um, and it was under a video that some activities took place where an individual ended up getting locked up, and I found the comment that he left was a little bit ironic. I'm gonna read it for you guys. Um, Bear with me. I know you guys are not gonna be able to see it, but I'm gonna show it anyway. Doesn't matter because I'm gonna read it to you guys. So it says, "Damn, Shorty threw her life away." Shaking my head. This is just a reminder of when all is said and done, you alone will be facing a judge, and that sentence alone, no matter if you have Cody's or 100 people in court for you. And I found that a little bit strange. Strange in a sense like maybe he felt something coming, or maybe he felt something brewing. Because after he left this comment, in comes the situation he ended up landing himself in. Um, so I'm just gonna read, what the DA put out there online, so you guys could get like somewhat of a backstory of, what this segment is pretty much about. All right. Yeah. So it says five alleged members of Brooklyn biker gang arraigned on indictment in connection with shooting in East Flatbush. All right. So it says Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez today announced that five men who are alleged to be members of the Brooklyn founded biker gang known as Motorcycle Club have been arraigned on a 52 count indictment in which they are variously charged with attempted murder, assault, reckless endangerment, criminal possession of a weapon, and related charges for a shooting in East Flatbush last spring. DA Gonzalez said, "With this indictment, we allege these defendants turned a busy East Flatbush block into chaos, firing 44 rounds, wounding three people, and sending bystanders running for their lives. We will seek justice for the victims in the community. Brooklyn's record low gun violence is no accident. It is the result of outstanding work by the NYPD and our relentless pursuit of accountability when people pull the trigger." The DA identified the defendants as Ricardo Johnson, 51, of Jersey; Akeem McDonald, 37, Huntington Station; um, Sansharay Bobbitt, 43, of Queens; Raheem Watson of Brooklyn; Melson Gatsby, 47, from LI. Four of the defendants were arraigned yesterday before Brooklyn Supreme Court Justice Herbert Moses on a 52 count indictment in which they are variously charged with second degree attempted murder, first degree assault, first degree criminal use of a firearm, first degree attempted assault, first degree reckless endangerment, second degree criminal possession of a weapon and related charges. Johnson's arraignment is pending extradition from Jersey. Bobbitt, McDonald, and Watson were ordered held without bail. Gatsby's bail was set at 200,000 cash or 400,000 bond. The defendants were ordered to return to court in December. 8 firearms, including one assault rifle, were recovered yesterday morning during the execution of search warrants at the residences of McDonald, Bobbitt, Watson, and Gatsby. The DA said that, according to the investigation on April 19, 2025, the defendants and their motorcycle club were hosting an anniversary party in an event space in the vicinity of Utica Ave and Foster Avenue in East Flatbush. At approximately 10:13 p.m., a large group of motorcycles, believed to be primarily members of a rival biker gang, drove past the event space. Following a brief dispute, it is alleged defendant Watson fired 14 rounds towards unknown individuals in the vicinity of Utica Avenue and Avenue D, and then fled the location with other members of the biker gang. Some of the rounds allegedly fired by Watson damaged an unoccupied vehicle and caused innocent bystanders in the area to flee. Immediately following, it is alleged defendant Ricardo Johnson fired 2 rounds at a fleeing 35-year-old member of the biker gang from behind, striking him in the leg. Another defendant, McDonald, allegedly fired at the 35-year-old victim as he attempted to flee, but instead struck a nearby vehicle, narrowly missing a female passenger seated inside. Defendants Johnson and McDonald were also joined in defendant Sancharay Bobbitt, who also allegedly fired a gun at the 35-year-old victim. The 35-year-old victim, unable to stand, attempted to flee and crawl to safety before allegedly exchanging gunfire with the defendant, Gatsby, the president of the biker gang, who also brandished a pistol. Finally, it is alleged a 29-year-old member of the biker gang tried to flee the area immediately thereafter on his motorcycle when defendant Bobbitt allegedly fired at him at close range, striking him once in the leg. The victim drove several blocks to safety, then called 911. In total, 44 rounds were fired and 36 shell casings with 4 different calibers were recovered. Defendant McDonald took Johnson to Kings County Hospital, where he was treated for a gunshot to the lower right abdomen and released. The 35-year-old was taken to Brookdale Hospital by ambulance and treated for a shattered tibia. He was hospitalized for 2 weeks and is still unable to walk on his own. The 29-year-old was treated at Kings County Hospital, where he stayed for 7 days and suffered permanent nerve damage to his leg. The DA thanked New York City Police Department Detective Stephen Lavin and Lieutenant Martin Costello of the 67th Precinct Detective Squad of their continuous work on this case. And it goes on and on and on and on, thanking intelligence analysts, digital evidence labs under the supervision of Alexandra, the chief multimedia people. And at the very end, it says, an indictment is merely an accusation and not proof of a defendant's guilt, right? So we all know who Tip is, especially if you from the land, um, Flatbush guy, definitely been through his fair share of you know trials and tribulations and overcoming obstacles and hurdles. He's a figure in Brooklyn, more so Flatbush. Um, and this is just a sad deal. As I read, like, he's 51 years, pardon me, he's 51 years old. Um, he is a father, he is a husband. Um, and again, like I said, I think what actually moved me to, do a segment on him is based off of the comment that he put under my post. And then, ironically, a week later, he ended up getting caught up in this indictment right here. Um, and I'm speaking for those that actually been through the system. Some of us raised in the system, um, and it's more so in the sense of, when we know better, we got to do better. We pretty much know what's at stake. We know the odds are stacked against us, especially if you've been in the system. If you have a felony or felonies, like you know how things like that go. But more so, I think I want to stress the point of having family members that's gonna be going through the holidays minus a father, minus a husband, um, and whatever thoughts he may be going through while he's sitting wherever he's sitting at, whether it's Jersey or the island or the Feds, not sure. Um, that's not the way that um, we should wanna pretty much end our chapter. Um, that's not the way that we should be going out at this very big age that we are right now. Um, Again, Tip is very well known. Um, he's not new to the social medias. He was actually up on the 050 channel years ago, based off of rumors, allegations, proof of whatever was the outcome of that. Um, but I think what really got me is that Tip is an individual that he's able to like move the crowd regardless of his background, regardless of what he's been accused of, regardless of whatever the case may be. Um, he's not an individual that tucks his tail or duck or run and hide, regardless of whatever type of accusations or whatever he's labeled as. Um, he pretty much makes his presence felt, so to speak. Not even so to speak. He does. Um, and I'm saying this in a sense to he manages to put himself amongst like, the movers and the shakers of the industry. And I say that in a sense of, I think maybe last year or maybe 2 years ago, he hosted a party for himself where the likes of the Yandy Smiths and Mendices hosted the party with him or whatever the case may be. He definitely puts himself in a position to get close to you know NYC rappers, etc., etc. So it just threw me off, to see certain things get sent to my phone involving him in that manner of which I just read to you guys. um, for the youths out there that may have looked up to him, or maybe grown men. There's probably some grown men out there that still looks up to him, or any youth that's thinking about getting themselves involved in any gang, whether it be, uh, you know, Blood Crip, Biker Gang, Nieta Latin King, Tribo, any of the above, man. Um, just know gangs isn't college. It's not a place where you're gonna be studying um, to get degrees to elevate in a positive light. You know what I'm saying? Even though most brotherhoods have the right idea in doing things the positive way, but the reality of it is the reality of what we know it to be. Um, I'm not sure how is actually looking for Tip. He's definitely facing some serious charges, especially with it being like a 52 um, count indictment. But I'm saying all of that to say, like, kids, grown men that looked up to him, once looked up to him. Like, that's not the way that we want to go out at this big age of 51 years old. Um, Again, there's a lot more at stake other than freedom, and I'm saying that coming from a place of him being a husband and having kids. Um, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to hold his head or whatever, but his absence in his household is what's gonna impact the family. And plus, those are serious charges. Um, Hopefully he beats him. Um, he just might beat him again. Everything is alleged, so Um, and I'm not up here trying to tear him down. I'm not trying to big him up because I don't think that was a move to get yourself involved in or whatever the case may be. Hopefully he's innocent and he can prove that, as he continue to fight his battle. Again, what drove me to actually, do this segment on him was based off of a comment that he mentioned. And for those that's just, tuning in, I'll read that one more time. Um, he said, "Damn, Shorty threw her life away," shaking my head. "This is just a reminder of when all is said and done, you alone will be facing a judge, and that sentence alone, no matter if you have Cody's or 100 people in court for you." So, with those words from Tip Top himself, from my post, you heard it from him himself, man. Only you will be facing that judge when it's time. Physically, in hindsight, your family would be there as well too. Um, this is just one of those segments, where the slogan is, on Battle Boy TV is "Stay woke or wake up." This is one of those situations where we gotta stay woke or wake up. And again, we all have choices in life. Um, we just gotta keep our head focused where we belong, um, and where we should be, not where we end up being at. Um, Again, this is a sad situation. Um, Definitely not a good look, being that we're around the holidays or whatever the case may be, man. But hopefully, Tip will hold his head and go in them courts, proving his innocence and come out how he need to come out, man. But for the most part, man, for the youth, again, this is more so for the youth. Um, know what you're getting yourself into, and sometimes what it is that you want to get yourself into, it's not even worth it when it comes to things like the gang. So think twice, man. Just know that your life will be at stake, whether you know it's to the system or God forbid the grave, man. That's all I got for you guys, man. Y'all tune in, like, share, subscribe, Battle Boy TV, man. And as always, stay woke or wake up. That's a fact. Stay woke or wake up, man. With that, I'm out.